The Song of the Shirt by Thomas Hood, 1799 to 1845. With fingers weary and worn, with eyelids heavy and red, a woman sat in unwomanly rags, plying her needle and thread, stitch, 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 in poverty, hunger and dirt, and still with the voice of dolorous pitch she sang the song of the shirt. Work, 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 while the cock is crowing aloof, and work, 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 till the stars shine through the roof. It's oh, to be a slave, along with the barbarous Turk, where woman has never a soul to save, if this is Christian work. Work, 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 till the brain begins to swim. Work, 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 till the eyes are heavy and dim. Seam and gusset and band, band and gusset and seam, till over the buttons I fall asleep, and sew them on in a dream. O men with sisters dear, O men with mothers and wives, it is not linen you're wearing out, but human creatures' lives. Stitch, stitch, stitch. In poverty, hunger and dirt, sewing at once with a double thread, a shroud as well as a shirt. But why do I talk of death, that phantom of grisly bone? I hardly fear his terrible shape, it seems so like my own, it seems so like my own. Because of the fasts I keep, O God, that bread should be so dear, and flesh and blood so cheap. Work, 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 my labour never flags, and what are its wages? A bed of straw, a crust of bread and rags. That shattered roof and this naked floor, a table, a broken chair, and a wall so blank my shadow I thank for sometimes falling there. Work, 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 from weary chime to chime, work, 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 as prisoners work for crime. Band and gusset and seam, seam and gusset and band, till the heart is sick and the brain benumbed, as well as the weary hand. Work, work, work in the dull December light, and work, work, work when the weather is warm and bright, while underneath the eaves the brooding swallows cling, as if to show me their sunny backs and twit me with their spring. Oh, but to breathe the breath of the cowslip and primrose sweet, with the sky above my head and the grass beneath my feet, for only one short hour, to feel as I used to feel before I knew the woes of want and the walk that costs a meal. Oh, but for one short hour, a respite however brief, no blessed leisure for love or hope, but only time for grief. A little weeping would ease my heart, but in their briny bed my tears must stop, for every drop hinders needle and thread. Seam and gusset and band, band and gusset and seam, work, 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 like the engine that works by steam, a mere machine of iron and wood that toils for mammon's sake, without a brain to ponder and craze, or a heart to feel and break. With fingers weary and worn, with eyelids heavy and red, a woman sat in unwomanly rags, plying her needle and thread, stitch, 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 in poverty, hunger and dirt, and still with a voice of dolorous pitch, would that its tone could reach the rich, she sang this song of the shirt. Okay, this is a poem by Thomas Hood. Thomas Hood was a British poet. He's from London. Um, let's see. When he was younger, he wrote happy poems about and comic poems and things like that. But this is one of his very serious poems. Now, Thomas Hood was a friend of Charles Dickens, and this poem is about the sea mistresses, the women who used to sew in terrible conditions. Yeah, and in order to feed her children, she had to sew all day, every day. And even with that, working all day and every day in the worst of conditions, this wasn't enough to feed her family. And this poem is written thinking about a lady called Mrs. Biddle, who was a widow and one of these sea mistresses. And she got so desperate to feed her children that, let's see, the materials and the cotton and the threads were given to the sea mistresses by their employer. And then the sea mistress would make things for the employer and give them back to him. And she was so desperate to feed her children to stop them dying that she pawned some of the things that she'd made. And they found out, and she ended up in the workhouse. But this poem itself, it's talking about the wretched conditions of the working poor who spent 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year, working in inhumane conditions, barely able to survive, and no prospect of anything changing. And now this poem originally was published anonymously in Punch in 1843, and it drew attention to the plight of the poor. Now, Hood was not really a political radical, but he contributed to raising the awareness of the conditions of the poor working people, and that fed the idea of trade unionism and stricter labour laws. But yes, the situation of these poor women was intolerable. And they never had time to do anything but work. Yeah, not even time to go outside, just work. So enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now. The Song of the Shirt by Thomas Hood.